Ambition. It's not a destination, nor a finish line. It's what you keep racing towards, to push, to the extremes, to race, race, race. That's when you find the limit. That's our ambition, so you too can race yours.
Hi, I'm Ringo Chong and this is my GR Yaris.
Hello everyone and welcome to Toyota Gazoo Racing in GT Cup Singapore 2021 semi-finals, brought to you by Toyota Singapore. I'm Claire Jedrick, your host for this event, and here with me are your very familiar commentators Ringo and Hong.
Hello again, I'm Ringo. Today is the semi-final and I'm so excited for the race.
Hello everyone, I am Hong, and yeah, I too am excited to see some skillful driving and can't wait to find out who will be proceeding on to the finals.
Thank you, Hong. Well, before we begin, let me tell you a little bit about Toyota Gazoo Racing, as well as the Gran Turismo sport. Part of the Toyota brand, Toyota Gazoo Racing TGR, drives Toyota's mission in making ever better cars by applying the techniques and experiences gained through the harsh environment of motorsport and rallying our automobile fans. Gran Turismo Sport for PlayStation 4 focuses on competitive online racing and offers the real-world movements of cars and excitement of motorsports. Again, today is the semi-final. The top 24 racers from qualifiers are racing for the top 12 positions to proceed to the final. Now, all racers are joining the race from their own homes with their own simulators. Hong, please introduce the 24 racers.
Sure thing, Claire. Successfully qualifying for today's semi-final races. In Group A, we have Muhammad Alif, Fadris Issa, Muhammad Jin Mavzi, Zayam Rashia, Rashid Banjari, Jonathan Lim, William Yong, Asafi Asadi, Tan Bing En, Rishi Mohan Khatrini, Lee Wee Jui, Muhammad Iskandar bin Jainal. And over in Group B, we have Muhammad Thasbi, Ethan Yo, Nur Shah Lizat, Izwan Hisham, Christopher Lee Yong Ming, Datu Yoga Brata, Daryl Ng, Muhammad Ifran Daniel, Muhammad Nasrun, Eugene Chan Chun Hong, Muhammad Izzuddin bin Ma'ad, Marcus Lee Hee Yang. Once again, congratulations to all 24 racers and thank you all for participating in this year's qualifier.
Congrats to all. Okay, Hong, could you tell me about the mechanics of the semi-final?
The 24 semi-finalists will be split into two groups of 12 racers, competing in two semi-final races to reach the top of their respective groups. Just like in the qualifier rounds, the participants will first be competing in the GR Supra 20, a sports car derived from the real world. With some 382 horsepower on tap, mated to an 8-speed transmission, the GR Supra is capable of achieving a blistering top speed of 318 kilometers per hour. Having said that, this high-performance sports car will need to be handled with finesse, as the competitors will be racing on the Red Bull Ring short circuit. With a distance of 2.33 kilometers and a race duration of 9 laps, we can expect all competitors to be gunning full pedal to the metal the moment all lights go green. For the second race, competitors will be driving the newly updated GR86 on the Suzuka International Circuit. Equipped with the brand spanking new 2.4-litre naturally aspirated engine, the 231 horsepower GR86 is a cult favorite due to its high agility and lightweight characteristics. Thanks to its 5.8 kilometer length with a total of 17 corners, this 5-lap race at Suzuka Circuit will be an ideal location to truly test the mettle of cars and drivers. To add even more flavor to the entire race series, the organizers have also created 3 distinct and iconic liveries for all the race cars, based on the signature Toyota colors of black, red, and white. Selected by total points and will then advance on to the finals.
Now let me introduce the point system for the race. The final classification of each race will be according to the racer's finishing position in the race, subject to any penalties. The points will be awarded to the racers according to the position for each race. Here we go. First 20 points, second 15 points, third 12 points, fourth 10 points, fifth 9 points, sixth 8 points, seventh 6 points, eighth 5 points, 9th 4 points, 10th 3 points, 11th 2 points, and 12th 1 point. Now, the top 12 racers in the point standings after both races will proceed to the finals. And should there be any tie in the points, the admin will refer to the racers' qualifying positions, taking the highest placing racer as the winner. Now, with regards to the game settings and rules, Hong, would you please?
Now, to ensure a fair and competitive environment, the race organizers have mandated several settings. Counter steering, assist, and active stability management are prohibited in the race. There's no limit on traction control, driving line assist, and ABS. Penalties and taking shortcuts and wall collisions are set to mild to prevent drivers from exceeding the limits. Ghosting is turned off to allow for realistic overtaking. Any penalties or protests will be observed and evaluated by the marshals. And for today's marshals, Mr. Ringo Chong, Singapore's top racing driver, and Mr. Eric Ho, a committee member of Motorsports Singapore.
Well noted. Now, let the Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup Singapore 2021 semi-final begin.
All right, before we get underway, Ringo, you've actually driven on the Red Bull Ring circuit. What is it like?
It's a magnificent circuit. It's really nice. High speed, a lot of hard braking, but the biggest difference is a lot of crest and the last corner. It's tricky.
So for the upcoming race, it will be the short circuit. So there are 10 turns, and I believe 10 turn, which is the last corner, is exactly the corner you're talking about. What is it like experiencing that corner in real life?
Okay, you're approaching it pretty high speed and you go up a crest and you come down. Then after that, immediately you have to brake very hard to make the turn in. It's difficult because you can't really see where the turning in point is. So the trick is really to brake in the correct point and getting the right turning in. It's going to be a place a lot of overtaking is going to be.
Okay.
And finally, turn 1, the famous Niki Lauda's corner. That one is also a very nice corner because it's going uphill and it's a right-hander.
So between the two corners, which one do you think will be a little bit more exciting for us to watch out for in the upcoming races?
I think the last turn 10 would be quite interesting.
All right, so I guess we know which corners to look out for in the upcoming race ahead of us. Now, Ringo, you've also tested the GR Supra 20 on the simulator. What is the car like?
Yeah, it was quite an experience. I was pleasantly surprised at how realistic the car was on a simulator. One thing to look out for is how the car turns into the corner. Managing the throttle, brakes will be important when executing the corners.
Absolutely. So we've had the chance to review the fastest racer from the qualifying session, and top of the charts was Alif. What are your thoughts on his crazy lap time of 2 minutes 13.984 seconds?
Well, yeah, it was a joy watching Alif go all out on his qualifying run and clock such an impressive lap time. His driving skill as well as his knowledge for both the circuit and car really shows.
Indeed. All right, well, the time has come. Let us now take a look at the semi-finals, race 1 for Group A. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to semi-final race 1 Group A. We're here at Red Bull Ring Short Circuit, and these are your 10 competitors. First, in pole position is Alif, second is Rasya, third is Anon Musk. And wow, Ringo, it's a night race and in the wet.
It's going to be very tough for all of them. It's going to be slippery, vision is going to be low, exit of the corner is tough. Now look, it's going to be green, 2 red light, 3 red light.
And
Long one, go!
there we go. Lights go off and the cars are racing. They're going up on the front straight to turn 1, which is the Niki Lauda corner that you were talking about that earlier.
Let's see how many people are going to dive bomb each other here. They started clean, good. Right. So far, everything is okay.
They do understand it's a sprint race, so they have to give it their all, but they also know that they don't want to crash into each other at lap 1.
Yes.
And here we have Alif in first position, calmly, and with Rasat in second behind him, and Non-Musk in third.
In this part of the track, when it's wet, it's really difficult. The Wurf curves all linked together. So if you make mistake entering one of them, you're going to have a big problem exiting the second one. It's all linked together. Then you go uphill.
And it's a pretty important uphill because it's relatively straight as well. They want to maximize on that. But here they come, first time in this lap, in this race, to the Red Bull curve.
Yes, and this is the corner that is always very tough.
So I remember you mentioned earlier when we were doing a preview that when they come down from this corner, they're not actually able to see what they're turning into.
Yeah, because of the last corner, on the right corner before the Red Bull corner, it's difficult, it's really fast. And you need to use a lot of the exit curve.
Right, and here, so now all the drivers have completed lap 1, and Alif is still in first position, getting a little bit of pressure from Graciat. Masvilton in third, Anon Musk in fourth, with so far going side by side with Anon Musk. Fourth and fifth position have just swapped places. So far, fourth, fifth. Oh wow, it's so quick. Anon Musk still managed to regain that inner line and retain that fourth position.
Well driven by Anonymous.
Yeah, very exciting driving up here. Oh, so far goes
he
off.
lost it. Yeah, too much curbs. In the rain, try to stay away from them.
Right, very tricky and slippery bits of the circuit. And once again, the drivers come down to Red Bull curve for the second time of this 9-lap race. This is semi-finals for Group A, race 1 for the 2021 Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup Singapore. And we're now on board with Rasat, who's coming very close to Alif as they negotiate the Niki Lauda curve, going onto this uphill. Alif able to pull away just that little bit with 0.6 of a second gap between the two drivers.
Yeah, Rasat entered the corner a little bit too fast, so he couldn't exit as quickly as Alif.
And now we are all looking at Simfai, who is in 6th position, slowly catching up to Sofa, who is in 5th ahead of him. I think that little oversteer that Sofa had earlier really affected his lap time, because now Anon Musk in 4th is able to pull ahead and even catch up to Masvilton.
Yes, in the wet it's always difficult. You always try to put the power down early, trying to get gain time, but sometimes you lose a lot of time just going sideways.
Right, so it's better to be a little bit slower and safer than to take too aggressive turn, I guess, in some of these corners.
We always say, you know, it's like tiptoeing on ice, but then sometimes you need to run, so you have no choice.
So you got to make the decision on the fly. And
yes.
Here we have a few drivers who are making those decisions on the fly, cutting that curb, going straight up, clearing Niki Lauda corner. And this is on board with Anonymous, slowly catching up to Masvilton. I think it's about a car length distance between them. Interesting lines. Both Masvilton and Anonymous both took very different lines entering to that corner.
Yes, slightly different. In the rain, usually you can go different line because of the patches of water and the braking. You gain entry, you lose exit. So you actually have to have a fine balance between the two. Now you can see Masvilton is having out acceleration issue. So I think he'll lose something on the straight, and Anonymous is going to catch it very close. Yeah, sideways.
Just as you predicted, Ringo, you are spot on. They are now almost bumper to bumper entering into Red Bull curve. Oh, that's pretty good. Oh wait, Enormous gets a penalty, 1 second penalty. I think he cut too deep on the right turn on the last corner for Red Bull Curve, and the game will issue up this penalty for the drivers when the game feels like they have an advantage. And in a way, I guess Enormous did have an advantage here, as you can see him overtaking Mazzelton and taking 3rd position. But that 1 second penalty, he will need to serve before the end of this race. If not, it will be added to his total time at the end of the race. So here we go. You saw a little bit of ghosting there when Enormous kind of faded away, and the penalty time also dropped. That's him slowing down more than required so that he could serve that 1 second penalty.
If not, he will lose that position at the end of the race, and you'll add in the 1 second, you fall back into position backwards.
Exactly right. So it's also a delicate skill set, I guess, because right now Anonymous would need to maintain that hard-earned 3rd position, defending himself from Mazzelton, while also trying to serve that penalty throughout the remainder of this race.
Actually, it's really good. It trains the driver to think a lot more when you're driving under pressure. It's not easy.
I could imagine. I mean, these are the top few drivers in Singapore. So I believe they know what they're doing. To an extent, they will have practice again and again and again on how to clear their penalties for the racing.
You know, it's amazing, you know, sim racing, you know, when we say we train someone racing sim racing, if he can finish the race well and understand how to take a lead and everything, he has learned so much on pressure taking, thinking and driving. And these are all the basic fundamentals to making a good racing driver. And if he knows this, in the future when he goes into real car racing, we do not have to teach them this anymore.
Right. So sim racing, you're basically saying, is in effect a good learning opportunity for these drivers to become real drivers, or rather real race drivers one day in the future.
Yes, definitely. If you can't drive the sim well and you cannot finish your race in the sim well, then in the real life it's the same.
Right. Well, I don't think that would be a big problem for some of these drivers that we're looking on screen right here. Here we have Rasyad in 2nd position.
Passing.
Alif in 1st. There's a brief yellow flag there. Not too sure. Oh, from the map it seems like a car has gone off track, I think. Not too sure about that. But when we look at the map on the top right corner of the screen, there was a car that went out. It is back now in the race, so probably a driver going off. And camera is now back to Anonymous. He still has that 0.9 second penalty to serve. We are 7 laps down, 1.5 laps to go. Rather 2.5 laps to go, I'm sorry. And so he needs to start serving that penalty real soon. If not, it will be added to his final. But let's take a look at Alif, or rather let's take a look at Sofa, who is now slowly catching up to Mazzelton as they come down to the last 2 corners of this Red Bull circuit, short circuit.
Very close. So far is catching up close to car number 4. Yeah, so see whether he can get a run on him onto the first corner. But I think his exit is always better. Let's see.
Right. It is a little bit far for any effective slipstream, but let's see the lines. And there we go. So we're coming up. Very close. Again, spot on, Ringo. Very, very close. Now so far going on to the inside right before the next corner.
Yeah, but he
Mazzelton closes it.
He needed a little bit more distance.
Right.
But it's good. Good racing.
So Mazzelton now on a slightly more defensive lines, making sure that Sofa is not able to take advantage and holding on to that 4th position with Sofa in 5th. We saw a brief moment of Anonymous passing through the camera with his penalty bar still bright red. He needs to solve that penalty issue real quick because this is the end of lap 8 and they are moving on to the final lap.
You know, in the race, in the real race, in the rain, when you are following cars behind like that, it's very difficult because we have water spray and sometimes you can't really see. So it's very difficult. You have to chase as close as you can because the further you go back, the more water spray you're going to get. So the closer you are, the clearer you see.
But being very close will also be very scary because you are basically racing bumper to bumper in wet conditions. And at night.
Yes, and especially with the headlight blazing on you, the front car is also suffering. Same for the rear.
So all right, we are on to the final lap, and you can see Maslton with a 0.5 second penalty. He ghosted a little bit there just so he could serve 0.2 of a second for that, because he knows if he loses this penalty, Sofa is going to tick. But it doesn't matter, because Sofa took full advantage of that, overtaking Maslton in that beautiful move. And Maslton now unfortunately dropping down to 5th. No more penalty for him to serve, but Sofa needs to defend that hard-earned 4th position, and just 2 more corners to go.
But I noticed Maslton's car has a lot of oversteer on the exit of the corner compared to Sofa's car.
Right, so I think that control is so important. Now Alif has already crossed the finish line. He is in 1st place. Rasyat crosses in 2nd. Anonymous in 3rd position in style. Sofa in 4th. Maslton in 5th position. Wow, another exciting battles from these drivers. I wonder what the rest of the semi-finals and the finals will be like later on.
I think the level will just keep climbing up. The drivers are really good and they are driving so well.
It is really a pleasure to watch these drivers race. And like you said, you know, racing in the wet, what an amazing performance, especially up top from the top 3 drivers.
Yes, very difficult. It's like skating on ice. You cannot go too fast and you have to be careful.
Indeed, you're right. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for semi-final Group A, Race 1.
Wow, that was an exciting one. Congratulations to Muhammad Ali for getting the 1st position for this race. Guys, give me the lowdown, Ringo and Hong, of the race.
Yes, Alif was very technical, and it's no wonder he got 1st position here.
And congratulations to Zaim, who finished the race in 2nd, and Fadris in 3rd. Ringo, here's another racetrack that you are very familiar with, and I believe one that you have raced on multiple times. What is Suzuka like?
Well, I can only say one thing. I love Suzuka. It's really fast, it's a very technical track, and you need to really be patient when you drive there. You can go very fast and you can make very big mistakes, and mistakes are costly. It's very difficult, and the corners are very technical there.
Now, what are some of the key corners that we want to look out for? Because as Claire and I were talking about earlier, Suzuka has everything.
Yes. Section 1, when you enter, it's all about rhythm and flow, so you have to take it very technical. Then you come to the Dunlop curve. It's 2 right handles that is mixed together. You have to enter well to exit correctly. Then you have the famous spoon corner, which is 2 fast left-hander. Very difficult, very technical. And followed by one of my favorite, 130R. It's a corner that you can drive there 100 times, and you always feel that you're not driving fast enough because you have not reached the tire wall close enough.
And am I right to say that that's actually your favorite corner at Suzuka?
Well, that's the corner that I wish I can practice as much as I can.
All right, now let's have a look at semi-final Race 1, Group B. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup Singapore. This is Race 1 for Group B semi-finals.
Welcome to the Red Bull Ring, raining, wet, and at night.
Yeah, this is going to be a very exciting race. Once again, we have 11 cars on track and they're ready to go. You can hear the engines revving. Now starting off...
All the lights are on now, getting ready.
Moments away from the start.
Bouncing on the limiter,
and
off they
away
go.
we go.
We have a bad start from the car in number
Yes, it
6.
seems like Fake Office did not really have a good enough grip on the start. Thasby, who qualified in pole position, is now leading the pack. And we have side-by-side action already between Ezran and Ethan. Ethan now in 2nd position.
Good start for everyone.
That's
through
right.
the loudest curve.
And okay, now Thasby still maintaining that lead, with almost a 1 second gap ahead of Ethan, who's in 2nd, Ezran in 3rd, SGC in 4th, Lee Yong-ming in 5th, and Diop in 6th position. Now this is the Toyota GR Supra that they're racing in, and it is a very slippery car. Now, Ringo, you've raced in this car already, and what do you think it's going to be like racing on this circuit that you know very well in the wet?
It's terrible. It's slippery in the real car. It's, and the AI is the same in the game. It's very difficult. In the wet weather condition when you're driving, you need to be very sharp and you need to be feathering the brakes and also the throttle, especially on the exit of the corner.
Right, and these are some of the more complicated and challenging corners for this series. As we can see, all the drivers now coming onto the Niki Lauda turn 1. This is the start of lap 2 for all these participants here. Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup Singapore 2021.
You can see it's getting really dark and then the drivers are pushing very hard. You know, with the rear wheel drive car, it's lovely when you see the car backing off, you see flame coming off from the exhaust. It's exactly like the real cars, and you know, I see all this driver driving, they're pushing, and a lot of them when they are coming off the corner, they are exiting it with a mild little bit of oversteer, counter steering, and you know, putting the power just right. Amazing, amazing. Brave.
Yes, I think that's also a key word to use, brave, because it's such a delicate balance. It's almost like a dance when you see these drivers. And these are, by the way, some of the best sim drivers in Singapore who are competing. And they do it so beautifully, especially during the Red Bull curve and the Niki Lauda corner.
Yes, especially in the wet. It's not
In the
easy.
wet, yeah.
You know, you can see them tiptoeing. We always say tiptoeing and running. Yeah, a lot of them, when you see them exiting the corner, they are very, very, you know, happy to put on the power. But the moment they do, they go on a slight opposite lock, and you lose time there. So you have to be, you know, very careful and a blend, a balance.
Right, and these are those corners that you've mentioned before, Ringo, about how they're connected, left, right. And so it's very important that they are able to carry that speed throughout the entire section.
Yes, you cannot be too greedy, you cannot go too fast, overcommit into one corner, then the second left-hander you have a big problem, and then you cannot exit on the last to get a good top speed for the last right turn.
Right, and that is where these drivers are right now, coming down to the Red Bull curve. SGC in 4th on the tail of Ezran, who's in 3rd. Ethan up in 2nd place with a little bit of a gap between himself and Thasby, who is leading the race at this moment. We're at lap 3, moving on to lap 4 of the semi-finals.
Oh, he's trying, taking a look.
Yeah, came out, take a peek to see if there's enough space. Decided maybe not. Going back into the line, into the train, behind Ezran, who is in 3rd position.
It's closing up now, and then see whether he makes a move.
Right, so
It's not easy.
you know, it's trail braking into the corner. You can see Ezran's 3rd brake light coming on and off. And I think it's also a good indication of how much SGC is able to push. You can see right there, starting to push now. There's a little bit more bumper-to-bumper action happening. This battle for 3rd position is starting to heat up.
Yes, and now he's being defensive, he's closing on the inside. But when you take on the inside line, sometimes you lose out. But in the rain, you might gain because the braking is better on the inside.
Right, and it seems like that strategy has worked for Ezran, at least for this particular lap at that corner.
But now SCG is very close, and let's see if he makes a run on the top speed.
So there might be a little bit of a slipstream. You can see Ezran moving out to the right, to the middle of the lane, and then back to the left. SGC following closely. Not close enough for the Niki Lauda corner, but
Good exit.
that was a much faster exit compared to
Yes,
Ezran. And there we go, we
yes.
see
Go,
some
go,
action.
go.
SGC coming in from the inside, blocking the line
He
for
got it,
Ezran,
yes.
taking the 3rd position. Sliding just ever so slightly, you can see that
Beautiful
drift.
control.
And now secure in 3rd position, but I don't believe Ezran is going to slow down. In fact, I think that would motivate him to drive even faster and maybe a little bit more aggressive as
Well,
well.
but I think a very good overtaking maneuver by SCG. It's really well done. Yeah, good,
Indeed,
good.
it was a beautiful performance on his part. Halfway point of this 9-lap sprint race, and these two who are battling out for 3rd are coming down Red Bull curve. Now we have cameras on Ethan, who is about 2 seconds behind Thasby, leading the race, and I think that's going to be a fair bit of distance for him to close in the last 3 or 4 laps of this race.
Thasby is very consistent, you can see, yeah. It's always very smooth, very consistent.
That's
and
right.
not easy for Ethan to catch up. Let's see. But you
Right.
never know. In the rain, sometimes you can make a mistake.
That's very true. Now we know for a fact that these drivers have laser focus because they spent the entire year training for this moment, and this is their moment to shine. All of them participants are some of the best sim drivers here we have in Singapore.
You know, whenever I look at the video here, I look at the cars, and the Supra is so beautiful. I always say this car has beautiful lines, and I love driving the car. When you actually drive the car is so balanced because it has a square nature, the
Right.
front wheel and the rear wheel. So the car is really balanced and quick.
And the drivers are able to use that balance to their advantage here in the wet at the Red Bull Ring short circuit. Well, there is a yellow flag based on the map. One car has spun out at the end of this. You can see on the left now there's Ignatius, who seemed to have spun out at the Niki Lauda corner, slowly coming back into the race. Hopefully no incidents there. Nope, it seems like there are no incidents with the other race drivers. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 have cleared.
If you watch the two drivers between Ethan and Tasby, Tasby drives it out a little bit more oversteer, whereas Ethan is more gentle on the exit.
Right.
If you watch.
And is this just a driving style for the two drivers?
Yeah, driving style between the two of them. Both lines slightly different, but the exit is very important.
Right.
You can see someone slowing down now.
Yeah, so Diok has himself a 0.1 second penalty. Now this is issued by the AI, and the drivers will need to serve that penalty before the race ends. If not, that penalty time will be added to their total time at the end of the race. So that would be a disadvantage. But they will need to balance when they slow down to serve that penalty and not let the car behind gain that advantage. And right now we have 6th position Lee Yong-ming. He sees that penalty box above Diok, who's in 5th, and Lee Yong-ming should be pushing harder now to gain advantage. You can see Diok ghosting there for a second. He has served his penalty. That 0.1 second will not stick with him to the end of the race unless he commits another penalty. But that was a slight advantage, and I think Lee Yong-ming is going to try to squeeze out a little bit more and see if we catch up to 5th position.
Well, he did make up some space, but now let's see how De Jong is going to drive and how 6th position is catching up. Okay.
Right. SGC in 3rd position, having overtaken Ezra. And now they are just about to clear lap 8. These are the drivers who are moving on to the final lap of the race. Ezra now in 4th position, SGC in 3rd, Ethan in 2nd, and here we have the race leader at the moment, Thasby, with a 2.1 second lead ahead of Ethan, who's in 2nd position.
Driving in the rain, we always have to conserve the tires, especially when it's condition like this. It's wet, but there's no pouring rain. It's very, very difficult for the tires. The tires get overheated, and what happens is that if you keep driving too hard, you lose the tire grip very quickly. So you have to watch out. But so far from this, I can see, look at the way he oversteers out the corner. It's beautiful, yeah?
Right.
Mild oversteer and controlling everything.
Very well controlled.
Yes.
But here we come. They are diving now onto the last 2 corners. This is Thasby, the race leader, from start to finish, beautifully executing the final quarter, the Red Bull curve, and down to the front straight to take the checkered flag and the win.
Fantastic.
For the semi-final race 1 for Group B. Ethan crossing the line in 2nd position, lights flashing. SGC in 3rd, Ezra in 4th position. And let's see if Diok manages to cross the line in 5th position as well. And I believe so, yes. Diok crosses the line in 5th, so Lee Yong-ming finishes in 6th, not able to take advantage of that small penalty ahead of him from Diok, but beautiful racing from all the drivers. Magnificent driving from Thasby.
Amazing drive. All of them are so clean and so well driven the race.
It was an awesome race to watch. Can't wait for next one.
Race your day. Race your daydreams. Where the beat at your feet starts your pulse racing. Where your split-second gear changes create a slowing of time. The all-new rally-bred GR Yaris. Race your heartbeat.
Wow, what a wicked race that was. Congratulations to Mohammed Thasbi for getting the first position of that race. Guys, how was that race?
Yes, Thasbi drove very well in the Supra and his car control skill in the wet was phenomenal. Well done to Ethan Yeo and Nur Sashlizan for positioning second and third as well.
All right, let's now jump trackside and watch the semi-finals for Race 2, Group A. Hello everyone and welcome to the Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup Singapore semi-finals Race 2 for Group A.
In my favorite circuit, Suzuka.
So we have our 11 participants now. In pole position is Alif, second position is Anil Musk, third is Rasyad. They are the starting grid in this Toyota GR86.
It's a wonderful day. You can see it's bright and sunny. And in Suzuka, the start is a rolling downhill. Go!
Away we go. Drivers are off. And we have Alif in first position. It was a very clean start from him. Straight away goes onto the inside for turn 1. That's a very defensive line to take, isn't it?
You have to, because turn 1 is very fast. And then you can actually take the inside to protect the line. And on the exit, now you can see Anonymous is on the outside, but the next corner is a left-hander.
Right, so Alif has
it's
the
going to be
inside.
very tight.
They do go side by side.
Yeah.
And Anonymous takes the lead away from Alif right early into this lap 1 of the 5-lap race.
Good start, good
That
start.
was brilliant move from Anonymous, leaving a lot for Alif to think about. And in third position we have Mazelton, fourth is The Will, and fifth is Racing Boy. But what a brilliant start for Anonymous, taking the lead right away from Alif in the early stages of lap 1 of this 5-lap race.
Into the Dunlop corners. Now you can see the two corners hanging together. All the way they're going to push under the bridge into the into the left hairpin. And let's see what's happening now.
Right, and this is a very exciting left hard hairpin because there's a lot of overtaking opportunities, but also a chance for a lot of drivers to actually mess up. And if they mess up here, then they lose a lot of speed for the upcoming bits of Suzuka.
Yes, this part is where we're going to approach the two spoon corners. It's going to be very difficult, very high speed. The braking is always an issue here. You either keep on the inside or on the extreme left. Now you can see Anonymous taking a nice line, but he's watching on the exit.
Right.
Look at Alif. Look at Alif is taking a slightly different line. He's getting a better top speed afterwards at the last corner before R130.
Right, I think Anonymous was able to slightly close the door there for Alif. However, they are now coming to the uphill back straight. And there we have Alif right at the end of Anonymous as they come into this left turn. Wow, look at the speed they're carrying into the corner. It's brilliant driving from these two guys. And now Ringo, you're sitting at the edge of your seat.
Yes, I'm getting excited too. It's the first lap and they're driving so well, every one of them. Exiting the last chicane into the start-finish straight again. Downhill, this part is always very quick. We always get a good exit. Now it's the draft and into turn 1 again. Turn 1 is a big, sharp U-turn, we call it. And you have to be very clean and carry a lot of speed into turn 1.
Now I'm seeing Rasat on screen right now because I think he started up at a slightly better position and somehow dropped down to 6th position. I'm not too sure why or how or when that happened, but it is quite an interesting situation to see as they start lap 2 of this 5-lap race. You can see Alif still hunting Anonymous down, not slowing down at all.
Section 1 here, we call it the sector 1, is always tough. It's a rhythm. In Suzuka, you really have to practice this. You cannot overdrive. You need to be very smooth and get all the apexes correct.
So this GR86 that they're driving with 231 horsepower, it's a pretty well-balanced vehicle for this track, but will it lack in power for some of the long straights, Ringo?
Well, the car is very light, very agile. That's the strength of this car. And when everybody's on par, it's all about driving skill. Now look at Alif and Anonymous. Both of
right.
them are taking slightly different line into the hairpin. One is focused on the exit, the other one is focused on the defend. Now the gap is still there, 0.5 second, and we see if there's any difference. Onto the spoon itself is very tough. Look at how Anonymous is going to break.
Right,
Here, this corner, you cannot break too hard because you lose a lot of entry speed and for the next exit of spoon, right here. And this part, if you get it right, you can put the power down so early. With this car, with the GR86, you need to actually put on the power earlier compared to the Supra.
Right, because there's an uphill battle that they literally have to fight. As we can see right now, we're jumping on board with Rasad, who is in 6th position, catching on to that slipstream behind Racing Boy 86, who is in 5th position. And they're going to break right about there, I think at the 50-meter mark. And then Rasad coming in on the inside. Racing Boy slightly oversteering there, and Rasad takes 5th position. Will he hold on to it? Will he hold on to it?
Oh, yes.
He does.
Nice.
Closes the door on Racing Boy as they come up to the final 2 corners of lap 2. Beautiful driving from Rasad, coming up from 6th position back up to 5th. And now hunting the Will, who is in 4th. And it seems like Maselton, who is in 3rd, was really going to the right side to the walls. You can see them side by side now. Will on the outside lane of the front straight as they come down to the first corner. Maselton defensive line into turn 1. The Will closely behind as they come out of turn 2 into those S turns. Oh, this is also an exciting battle happening right here. The battle for 3rd, 4th, and maybe even 5th.
It's really tough when you have someone very close to you in front. Sometimes you cannot see the apex and you have to drive following the front car, and that's not the way to overtake. You have to think in front of what he's doing.
Right, so now the Will is in between Maselton, who's in 3rd, and Rasad, who is in 5th. Now, what a brilliant drive from Rasad from 6th position, overtaking Racing Boy, and now already on the tails of 4th position. And I think this is going to be an interesting battle to watch for the remainder of this 2.5. Well, we have 2.5 laps to go, so it should be an exciting battle for these 3.
Yes, it's a long track, lots of corners, a lot of place to catch up.
Oh,
But
Maselton
now-
going off
Oh, yes,
into the dirt.
Okay.
Rasad taking advantage,
Somebody
cutting
got
all the way
it
to the
slow.
inside, right behind the Will, and now they're side by side as they come into the hairpin. Maselton has nowhere to go, he's blocked by the Will in front. Rasad on the right side, on the outside of this hairpin, and now in 4th position, squeezing up Maselton. Maselton jumping to 5th. Wow, brilliant racing.
Overtaking, yeah.
Wow, such excitement here. All right, so Rasad is now in 4th, and he's bringing this battle to the Will, who is in 3rd position. I believe Rasad wants that 3rd spot as they enter Spoon.
Rasad is driving very well. He's carrying a lot more speed and he's catching up very quickly.
I am actually holding my breath, but it's hard to speak while holding the breath. Here we are going on to this long up straight. Rasad definitely at the tail of the Will. I'm sure there's some slipstream effects. In fact, you can see that on screen, ladies and gentlemen. He is already slowly inching forward and catching to the Will. Will he be able to take? Oh, so close. But it's not over yet. This is only
Let's
lap
see, he
3.
take a dive in the right side. Is
Right,
he going to? Is he
is
going
on the
to?
inside.
No,
Nope,
it's very
nope,
late.
comes back in.
Okay. Okay, now then the exit.
Lots of speed from Rasad there. You can see it from the outside.
Perfect.
These two are indeed bumper to bumper. I think there's a lot of pressure on the Will now. If he's looking in the rearview mirror, he sees that view. A very aggressive Rasad coming with across the start-finish line as they enter lap number 4.
Yes, doing a defensive line, and now he's going on. Rasad is going on the outside.
Now I'm just looking at the charts on the left. Alif has actually just overtaken Anonymous. There we go, camera is on. At the end of the turn 1 and 2, Alif has regained 1st position, taking that spot from Anonymous. Anonymous still in the battle, in the fight. They are again bumper to bumper. These two just don't slow down at all. In fact, they only spur each other on further and further.
Really good driving from the front 2 cars. They're pushing all the way and clean, and both of them are really pushing hard.
Right, you can see the drivers now coming, using full width of the track when they do their corners. It is, after all, a dry race instead of the wet race that we witnessed earlier at the Red Bull Ring Short Circuit. So the drivers now seem to be a little bit more confident and a little bit more aggressive and daring. You can see them really going wide, pushing the very limits of the GR86.
But the two cars in front is breaking away from the third and fourth cars.
Oh, you're right. The Will and Elon Musk, who's in second, has a 5.8 second gap. So I think the battle is pretty much set for the next 1.5 laps for this 5-lap race. 1 and 2 will probably be between Alif and Elon Musk, while battle for third and fourth spot will be between the Will and Rassad. Maybe even Maselton, who's in fifth, slowly still keeping in sight the Will and Rassad, but will he be able to catch up? We'll find out soon enough.
Very close fight all the way. You can see slightly different style of driving. Will is entering the corner smoother, whereas Rassad sets the car up and you can see going in a little bit with more oversteer.
Right, and that aggression would show. It is a beautiful level of showsmanship, not going to deny that. But here we have car number 1, car number 2, Alif in first, Elon Musk in second, coming to the end of that uphill straight.
Alif has actually pulled away a little bit. He's got a 0.4 second lead now.
Indeed he has. And here they come up to the chicanes on the last 3 corners as they come to the end of their 4th lap. Such an exciting battle to be watching. And here we are, Elon Musk now still having that 0.4 of a second gap behind Alif, catching on to that draft just a little bit. I think won't do a lot of good.
Not much at that gap.
Right. Now the question is, where do they break and what lines will they take? Alif, masterclass in driving, clean, clinical, sharp and precise. And Elon Musk not too far behind as well, keeping the pressure on for Alif to perform. Here we are looking at the Will, who's in third position. I think most of the past 2 laps was spent defending his position from Rassad, who is also putting up a beautiful fight. Look at that, they're going bumper to bumper now. And
Rassad is a little bit quicker, but then Will is making his car really wide. So he's preventing him from passing and slowing down in the correct area. So that's why the front 2 cars are actually making a gap away from them. It's 0.6 second for the front 2 cars, and between them is quite a big gap now.
Right, so very good defensive driving from the Will, defending himself from Rassad and Maselton, giving Elon Musk and Alif that less stress from behind, because when Elon Musk looks in the rearview mirror, it is clear. So he can give his 101% focus on targeting down his competitor right in front of him, who is Alif. And they are onto the final few corners of this final lap here at Suzuka International Circuit, Japan. These guys are racing in the GR86. At the front, Alif with a 0.9 second gap ahead of Elon Musk, really starting to pull away.
Yeah, on sector 3, Alif is quicker. He's gaining some time there in some of the tight corners, especially the hairpin on the exit, into Spoon as well.
Right.
But good driving from the 2 front guys, really, really clean and nice. Different approach, but very nice.
Absolutely, and here they go up to that back straight for the final time. All the drivers now lining up. Now this is a battle to watch. The Will in 3rd position, Rassad in 4th position, Maselton a little bit further back in 5th. Rassad has very good positioning behind the Will, slipstream on maximum
Is he
level.
trying? Yes, I think he's trying.
So.
He's going in, ready, he's
not
entering.
letting go.
Go,
and
go.
Oh, there we go. Very big. Rassad clears it.
Yes.
Will Will take it back? No, Rassad takes the 3rd position, the final spot on the podium. All right, Karim has switched over to Alif, who's in first. Elon Musk gets a 2-second penalty. Now he's got to slow down before he crosses the finish line, but I think he will clear it before. And yes, that is Elon Musk, thankfully or luckily for him, finishing in 2nd position. But what beautiful overtaking at the last few corners on the last lap by Rassad. Car number 3 right there in red, overtaking everyone right now. He must be celebrating that overtake. Beautiful driving from Rassad, overtaking the Will.
Wonderful overtaking at 130R. Very brave move, very good and clean line. Amazing. Good race.
Yes, that was indeed a very good race to be watching. I'm also at the edge of my seat, Ringo.
Me too.
All right, thank you all for joining us in this semi-final race. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
Well, guys, that was an exciting one. Congratulations once again to Muhammad Ali for getting the 1st position of this race. Ringo, Hong, how was the race?
One thing worth mentioning is that Alif's skill in the GR86 on Suzuka circuit was amazing, really smooth and fast, and it's no wonder he got first position here.
Congratulations as well to Fadris for coming in second place, Zion in third. Now that we're done with Group A, let's take a look at the semi-finals for Group B, Race 2. This is Group B's Race 2.
Again in my favorite track, Suzuka. And now you can see all the 11 cars on the grid getting ready to start.
That's right, qualifying in pole position is Ethan, in second position is Ezra, in third position SGC, fourth Fake Orpheus, and fifth Thasby. Lights about to go green here at Suzuka International Circuit, Japan. And away we go, lights are now indeed green. Ethan to a very good start, right off the line, clean, followed by Ezra in second, who's on the inside line, and Thasby shooting up to the fourth position already, SGC in third. And I think it's, whoa, beautiful side by side. Ezra taking
will take the first position.
They are side by side and coming out of turn 2. Ethan back in first position, but they are still door to door. It is mirror to mirror. Oh, no, never mind. Ethan is now back up front. It is now bumper to bumper.
It's always very tough in the first lap in Suzuka because the corners are just linked. So depending where you are, if you're going to stay there, keep the door closed and then you maintain the position. It's tough. Look at all of them.
And that is something that is equally as challenging to do, keeping the doors closed from your competitors behind while trying to stay focused on what's happening ahead. In this case, we now have Ethan who's leading the race, Ezra in second, Thasby has climbed up to third, SGC is in fourth position, Lee Yong Ming climbing up to 5, and Diok who completes the top 6.
Ooh.
You can see some battles going on already.
What happened? What happened?
Not too sure. Ethan seemed to have slowed down a little bit. Ezra taking the lead. Thasby now in second place. Ethan lost 2 spots within 2 corners. Ezra on the inside line of this hairpin. Thasby outside next to Ethan. And they're going side by side as they clear out the hairpin corner. And Thasby now in second place, Ethan in third. And SGC in fourth. These 4 are firing up, blazing ahead of the pack. Ezra now leading the race as they enter the spoon corners.
Yes, very close. Everybody's one line, like a train. And now on the exit again, and I think Isran is going to try.
And it seems like Ethan is also, trying to take advantage of bringing that speed out of turn 2 of the spoon and up onto this front straight. We're now riding aboard Thasby, looking at SGC, and Ethan going side by side, battle for third.
I'm sure Ethan will go in.
Yes, definitely. There it is. Ethan taking back third position, overtaking SGC, who had the slight slipstream advantage. Ezra now coming into the S corner, the chicanes rather, with Thasby close behind as they finish up lap 1 of this 5-lap race. These drivers are in the Toyota GR86. This is the newly refreshed version of the car. Maximum agility, which is useful for these guys. But let's jump on board now to Ezra. The back view, you can see Thasby hunting left, hunting right, looking for the right lines as they dive into turn 1, bumper to bumper. Thasby taking the inside line and overtaking Ezra. That is right. Thasby is now in the lead. Ezra is second. Ethan in third. Very close behind. Well, this battle's heating up, Ringo.
Yes. Good overtaking by Thasby.
And these are your S turns. And Thasby now ahead. While he has done some of the tough job for the race, it is not over till it is over, because now when he looks in the rearview mirror, he has 3 very aggressive drivers hunting him down. So will Thasby be able to maintain that composure, maintain that consistency for the remainder of this race? We'll find out soon enough. I think we saw a penalty here on Lee Yong Ming, and there's 1.3 second. Wow, that's a painful one. What you're seeing right there was that little bit of ghosting is when the driver is trying to slow down a little bit and serve that penalty. We're now looking at Bulls-Gogi, who is in 7th, Dangerous in 8th position. All right, back up to Thasby, who's leading the race. Ethan on inside line.
Ethan passed.
Yes, he did. Eventually managed to get back up to 2nd position. Still being pressurized heavily by SGC. You can see this view right here. It is bumper to
Really
bumper.
close. Amazing.
Yeah, tail lamp to headlamp.
Into spoon, and let's see if he makes a maneuver.
And we have Ethan now just a slight tap of the brake, throwing a lot of speed into the first of the two spoon, and then now into the second. SGC maintaining a close distance behind, but not able to overtake. Oh, I think Diog just went off track right before the straight. That's going to cost him a little bit of time with Liu Ming right at the tail in 6th position. We're now looking at Ethan, who's in 2nd position, SGC who's in 3rd, Ezra in 4th. Beautiful train, beautiful line. Look at that speed. SGC goes way off. Going to lose a fair bit of speed, but manages to hold on the inside line, blocking Ezra, not giving him a chance to take that 3rd position. So lucky.
Good driving, good defending.
Indeed. Okay, guys, we are now at the end of lap 2. Thasby here, race leader, starting off race 3. Comfortable 1.3 second gap. Behind is Ethan in 2nd, SGC in 3rd. Under pressure once again by Ezra. And they go, I think there was a little bit of contact there between the drivers. SGC holding off Ezra's attack into turn 1 and turn 2. So Ezra is still coming back with a lot of aggression. In 5th, Diog and Liu Ming. Also a very exciting battle happening right there. But here, camera back on board to Thasby, who's really starting to inch away from Ethan, who's in 2nd position.
Yep, both of them are driving well, pushing hard, but then Ethan I think he's trying to catch up, but the time is hovering about 1.2, 1.3 seconds. Not easy. Let's see how it goes later.
Right, I think we need to see Thasby maintain that level of consistency and Ethan maintain that level of aggression in order for these two to come closer together. But at the moment, like you said, Ringo, it seems like it's going to be a challenging job for Ethan. But there's still 2 more laps to go, and they're only at the halfway point of lap number 3, as they here now enter into the hairpin.
Lovely exit. Okay, Thasby, Ethan.
And yes, you're right, Ethan now, I would say he would be in a very comfortable position as long as he doesn't become too overconfident and continues driving with consistency. SGC here in 3rd position, slowly opening up a half a second gap to 4th position, Ezra. Cameras on Bulls Gogi, who's in 7th position, with a 0.8 second gap behind him is Fake Orpheus. Thasby now with Ethan in 2nd, clearing the double spoon and going up the hill for the back straight. I think that gap is really way too far for any form of slipstream to happen. So
good line,
beautiful clinical driving,
right
at
to the edge. Yeah,
right
it's
to the
really
edge,
nice.
using the full width of the track. Every
Yes.
inch of grip that the tires and the GR86 is able to offer, this chap right here is using it to the maximum. In fact, so is this chap. So both of them. And there's also a pretty good gap between Ethan and SGC. You can see on the timing sheets now almost a 3-second gap between 2nd place and 3rd place. So Ethan can really now focus on hunting down Thasby on these last 2 laps as they start lap number 4.
Ethan has closed a little bit. Now it's 0.9 of a second, 1 second. So 0.2 he has gained.
That's right.
From the last lap.
This is a sprint race, so these drivers will be driving cranked up at 101% from the very start and all the way to the end. The key thing now is that they need to be consistent and be able to maintain that level of aggressive driving that is beautifully displayed by all these drivers right here. These are, after all, some of the top race sim drivers in Singapore, here for the GT Cup Singapore 2021.
Really nice to see all these young drivers, how they put themselves and how they carry themselves throughout the race. A lot of thinking, a lot of mental stress, a lot of balance. Yeah, you really need to control. To lead a race and to win a race is tough.
And also a lot of sacrifice. You know, we've talked to some of these drivers before the race, me, Ringo, and some of these race drivers, and they were telling us how many hours they spent on training on a daily basis. Oh, Diog way off into the dirt. And Liu Ming gonna try to take advantage of that. He does have a 0.1
Yes.
second penalty, but there we have it. Liu Ming taking the inside line as they come on to the hairpin. Is Diok gonna be able to take it back? No, Liu Ming closes the door, closes into the inside line, and takes 5th position. Good opportunity for Liu Ming, and he took it.
On the double Dunlop corner on the exit, if you go a bit too fast, you will go into the gravel, which is exactly what Dion did. Okay,
Right.
and Liu Ming took the advantage. It's easy to make mistake there.
And it was a beautiful overtake. Liu Ming now into the top 5 quadrant, which is so important because this is, after all, the semi-finals, and the total points from all the drivers will determine if they make it into the finals or not. So if we're going to see any aggressive driving, now is the time for these drivers to shine. And we're looking now at Ethan, who, like you said, Ringo, earlier at this lap, is slowly catching up to Thasby, closing that gap. I'm not sure if it's enough to close, to really pose a threat to the first position that is being held by Thasby, but at least Ethan is indeed trying to close that gap. And we have Thasby now coming to the final corner of lap number 4 as they're about to go to the front straight and begin the final lap here at Suzuka Circuit.
Yeah, Ethan is slightly slower after spoon into the chicane. You can see the gap from 0.8 went up back to 1.01 second or 1.0 second.
Right.
So he needs to basically work on that sector.
Right, and it's going to be quite challenging because this is, after all, the final lap. He has been able to build up that gap between him and 3rd position, who is now held by SGC. And I believe part of the reason why SGC had to slow down a little bit as well was also because he was defending against Ezran, who's currently in 4th position. And I'm pretty sure Ezran is hungry for that 3rd spot on the podium because everybody wants those points.
For sure, but this gentleman, all these guys here are driving so well and they are really putting their mind to it. Like you were saying, how many hours they spend a day just to practice?
Right, I mean, some of them spend anywhere between 6 to 8 hours on a daily basis for training and practicing. So a lot of hard work, perseverance, and sacrifice even. This level, and that's why they are the top few sim drivers here in Singapore.
You know, watching them driving and watching the lines they take and everything is exactly the same like how I would do and how we would want to drive around the racetrack. It's the same. So if you practice well in the sim, when you go in a real car, it's about the same feeling. So you must know where to put the car, where to accelerate, where to brake, and which line to take.
Right, and I think we are getting a masterclass display from these two drivers up top, Thasby and Ethan, demonstrating the capabilities of the GR86 as well as their own driving skill here at Suzuka Circuit as they negotiate the spoon corners for the last time at the semi-final competition. They are now uphill, back straight, last few moments before the end of the semi-final race. And that gap still quite far away from the two drivers. I think it is at 1 second. They will need to execute these last few corners flawlessly before they cross the finish line, and as expected, right to the edge from Thasby and Ethan. Maximum use of the tires and the circuit. But here we are for the last time, crossing those chicane and the final corner. We have
the checkered flag coming up.
Exactly. Thasby, oh, I think there's a little bit of showboating right there. That was very cocky, Thasby. I mean, Ethan did close the gap to 0.6 of a second. Very, very cocky run by Thasby right at the end.
He was happy. He was just trying to show everybody, you know,
exactly.
He's leaving before the finish line.
So finishing this semi-final race, Thasby in 1st position, Ethan in 2nd, SGC in 3rd, Ezran in 4th, Lee Yong-ming in 5th, Diok in 6th. Beautiful, beautiful racing from these top drivers here at the sim competition that everybody has been waiting for all year long.
Well, proper to bumper action. Congratulations to Mohammed Thasby for getting the 1st position of this race. Guys, how'd it go down?
Yes, Thasby performed very well in Suzuka in the GR86. Wonderful racing and clear lead all the way. Well done Ethan Yeo and Neo Saslizan for positioning 2nd and 3rd as well.
Phew, everybody's on the limiter. No time to think or breathe, right, Ringo?
Yes, indeed. Now we know which of the 12 racers are proceeding to the finals, right?
That's right. Here are the top 12 semi-finalists from Group A and B.
Congratulations to the top 12 participants for qualifying to the finals tomorrow. All the best for the races ahead. And also a massive thank you to all who joined us this year. We hope to see you again next year.
Hong, can you tell me more about the finals?
Sure. For tomorrow's finals, the top 12 finalists will be competing in 3 races. For race 1, the competitors will be driving the GR86 on the Blue Moon Bay Speedway Infield A circuit. This is followed shortly by race 2, where they will compete at Fuji Speedway in the GR Yaris. And for the third and final race, once again in the GR Yaris, they will be racing at the Tokyo Expressway South in a loop. The top 3 finishers will then be selected by total points and proceed onto the Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup Asia 2021.
The top 3 racers from finals will then compete against the top qualifiers from Thailand, Malaysia, India, Indonesia, Taiwan and Korea for Team Glory in the TGR GT Cup Asia 2021. And this is scheduled on the 16th of October. The race will be broadcasted on One Esports Online, and the winner of Asia Round is to proceed to the global final. Tomorrow, 26th of September at 7 p.m, we have the Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup Singapore 2021 final. Don't miss it, and see you tomorrow.